If you run a small business, efficiency has never been more important. So for a limited time, Comcast Business is introducing small business savings. Call now to get powerful internet for just $39 a month for 12 months, with no annual contract and a money-back guarantee. All on the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 3/21/23. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. Restrictions apply. New business 50 megabits per second customers only. Equipment, taxes, and other charges extra and subject to change. After promo, regular rates apply.
Meet the needs of these precious children through adoption, foster care, global orphan care, and a host of other ways. If your family or church would like to know more about how you can answer God's call to care for vulnerable children in Jesus' name, head over to lifelinechild.org.
Authorities in St. Clair County are now investigating a double murder in the town of Ragland. Police have identified the two homicide victims.
Daily newsletter. WQEE 99.1 FM The Key. Home of Southern Sports and Talk. Noonan, Sharpsburg, Franklin.
Hey, Coach Prime. I think you got what it takes to wear the Aflac.
Style, charisma, and a smile, there's 21 out of 10.
Aflac. You know Aflac can help keep unexpected health care costs from ruining someone's finances. Check out this coverage.
You still got it, Coach. You still got it.
Aflac. Never lost it.
Yeah. Aflac. You see that coverage? With that wingspan, I see why you got more rings than a cell phone.
There's always room for one more.
Yeah.
Get help with expenses health insurance doesn't cover at Aflac.com.
Hi, I'm Holly Reese. I'm the founder of Warrior Defenders. I'm a certified tactical self-defense instructor, and I specialize in women's self-defense. I teach technical drills for survival skills and education on self-defense tools and how to use them. My journey started in self-defense because I'm a domestic violence survivor. I'm here to empower women, to teach them how to be their own heroes, and to learn today to have a safer tomorrow.
It's too easy, I just kill it with... It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey, and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Tune in Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 10:30 to listen to the Sustainable Brown Girl Radio Show, hosted by me, Ariel Green. Each week, we'll learn ways to be more sustainable in our everyday lives. We'll discuss exciting environmental news, ways to get involved locally, and we'll hear from women of color who are saving the planet in their own unique ways. Be sure to listen to the Sustainable Brown Girl Radio Show every Thursday at 10 a.m.
I'd like to know, are you really ready for some super dynamite soul?
Well, if you are, then make sure you tune in and check out my show, A 45's Affair. I'm your host, DJ Commando. You will hear R&B from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, all from my 45's collection. Tune in to check out my all-vinyl show, A 45's Affair, on WQEE 99.1 FM The Key.
It's A 45's Affair with DJ Commando.
This is Josh Petrantonio of the Columbus River Dragons, your home for River Dragons hockey, and Noonan 99 Rock.
Happy Hump Day, people. I'm Trish, the Mobile Chaplain, coming to you today with a great show. We got a great guest, and we're going to go ahead and start the show today. I'm going to let my guest go ahead and tell you who he is and what he does. Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
Thank you so much, Trish. I appreciate you having me on your show. Hello, everybody. My name is Milt Walker. I am a IT consultant and a web designer, and I'm also a podcaster. But first and foremost, I am a father, and I like to consider myself a spiritual guru when it comes to myself and my own spiritual journey. And I'm just excited to be here, Trish, and I appreciate you inviting me to speak with your audience. And I'm really excited about today's message that we're going to be sharing with them today.
Yes, this is Hope, Healing, and Inspiration. And today we have a great inspirational message for the people. So, Milt, tell the people about your podcast. I know it's called Intelligentleman. Tell the people what inspired that and what that's actually about.
Yeah, definitely. So, yes, as you said, my podcast is called Intelligentleman, which is just a combination of two words, intelligent and gentleman. And I chose that name because, first of all, it was something I kind of coined back in my youth, where I saw myself as different from what commonplace society said that male figures, especially back in the 90s and the 2000s, was supposed to be. And so I always had a lot of female friends. I've always had a lot of friends around me asking for advice and so on and so forth. So, and they would say that I knew a lot, and so they would come to me for advice. And so, that's kind of like an extension of what my podcast is. It's just me sharing my experiences, my perspectives on life, spirituality, and community. Yeah.
So that's the question. You live in Columbus like me.
Right.
What is going on in our community, Milt? What is the problem? You're a man. What's the problem you see with our young men? Expound on that for me, please.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it's a question that, the community as a whole is asking as well.
Right.
And, I grew up in Columbus, right? Went to elementary school there, middle school, high school. And so seeing and growing up in that period from the 80s to the 2000s, I like to say that our generation is a bridge between what people consider the baby boomers and what people consider the millennials now, right? We're that generation right in between. And so I've seen it kind of blend in and seen a lot of the changes that have happened in the city. One of the things that I used to enjoy doing is we used to walk all over the city. We used to walk from one neighborhood to the other neighborhood. We used to walk to they used to have a mall called Columbus Square Mall. Now there's a library there, and we used to meet there. There was an arcade in there. We used to play games at. There was a movie theater right behind it, so we were able to just go right there to enjoy some of those types of amenities. But since I was younger, there was recreational centers in every neighborhood, pretty much almost every neighborhood. There was community pools in every neighborhood. So every summer we look forward to those pools opening, and being able to, gather there and fellowship together. You had so many church programs. I was part of, the church I went to was Metropolitan Baptist Church over on Fifth Avenue. And they had so many different programs, Boy Scouts. I was able to go to the Boy Scouts through them. I was able to go to plenty of, see he has the Braves logo over here. Went to many Braves games, There was many programs. It was a men's fellowship program, men's breakfast every Saturday morning we could go to. And so in short, my answer is the community piece is missing in my city. That's why so many things are happening. People don't feel connected to each other. We've lost that sense of connection to each other and a sense of community. Part of that is a loss of opportunities. Like I was mentioning, there's so many different things that I grew up with that are just not there anymore.
Right.
And so that was an opportunity for us to come together. But because those things are no longer there, that took away that connection. And so we were able to connect with people all over the city through these programs, whether it was citywide talent shows, citywide, concerts, all types of stuff that was happening. And these were free programs for the kids that we were able to go to and enjoy some of the things that you see on TV, but you're not really able to access because of living in a low income area. You don't really have access to a lot of different things. So, but I'm a firm believer in, things change for the better. And so as we know, God is good, and
God is good.
He's always in control. And
Yes.
so I was just speaking with somebody about that this morning and saying, if I truly believe that God is in control, then I can never believe that all hope is lost. So
That's
I'm a
deep.
firm believer in that we can always make a positive change. And so we just have to make sure that we're doing our part.
Right. We need a positive change. And I've been talking to people. I actually got a friend in Valdosta, and they're facing the same problem. It's like a Georgia statewide problem where the youth have just gotten out of hand to where they want to get in gangs, they want to kill each other. They actually, like it's been saying, they watching BMF, they watching all these violent shows, they listen to the music, and now they want to be this because they don't have enough positive role models. And like you said, programs for the youth that can help them change their mindset. So
and not to say that there aren't any programs, right? Because we know some people, some of our mutual friends, they run programs in Columbus. But what's happening is a lot of times they don't have access to it. That's one of the things I was just mentioning. Like, because they don't really have access to those programs. You can't really get a benefit from something if you can't really be a part of it. So again, that connection is very important, and I feel that a lot of the investment that goes into the city a portion of that should always go towards the community. And providing those access to resources as well.
Right. So what inspires you as an individual?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's one that introspectively I've always asked myself, and I go into my own self and I ask myself, what inspires you? And what always comes back to me is the desire to help other people. Yes. So because that is my driving force, when I grew up in these same neighborhoods I was talking about, I was labeled the neighborhood tech guy, right? So because of my love for technology, I was the one who any and everybody in the neighborhood, if they had some type of tech issue or anything of that nature, because they knew I loved to do it. And again, that connection, right? So you'll see this theme kind of going throughout everything that I'm saying. Because they knew me, right? They knew me, and they knew that I loved technology.
Right.
They always would come to me and ask me, hey, could you come and do this for me? Could you fix this for me? Could you fix this computer? Could you set up this network? Do all these different things. And I was happy to do it. And I used to do it for free for my community. And then one day, one of my grandmother's best friends, she actually told me one day, she gave me some money, and she said, she made me take it because I was telling her I didn't want it. And then she told me, she said, you need to keep some money in your pocket. You need to keep some money in your pocket. Basically saying that you should be getting paid for what you're doing, because you're providing a service to the community. And it's not about the money, but it's about helping other people. So that's always been a part of me, and that's what inspires me to this day. And why I love doing what I do is because I love to help people. So even if I don't get things, my personal philosophy is that I do donate a portion of everything that I make back to whatever source or whatever that I can, or whatever at that particular time that I decide that I want to give back to. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just money. It can be time, it can be resources, and it also can be money. But I always do that because that's very important to me.
So that is important. Donating back, because so many of our communities are broken and they need healing. We need people that are willing to donate not just money, but time as an individual into the community, and especially to our youth. You're also a mentor, right?
Yeah. So, and I was just going to speak about that. I was going to say, and we need to give back into those people who are doing that. Even if we decide that we don't want to do that, right?
Right.
Even if we decide, hey, I got this going on, so I don't really have a whole lot of time to donate. Let me donate some resources to these programs to people who are donating their time,
Right.
And if we all work together in that as a community, we can create that change that we were just talking about.
Yes.
But to answer your question directly, yes, I like to mentor kids and up to adults in computer science skills and IT skills, because my firm belief is that through utilizing technology, we can give people the skills to help economically empower them to build up their own communities, and not just not just have to always take something from someone, but be able to create and be able to because if you look at like Silicon Valley, right?
Yes.
Back before technology was what we see it as today, that was just a small town. That was just a small place out in the middle of nowhere in California. Didn't really know about it until a lot of these tech companies came in and made it a place, right? And now it's a well-known place where people go to, because that's where those tech jobs that they're looking for, that's 6-7 figures that you can go to, if you have the skills to create a better life for yourself, right?
Right.
And so, but it's a model, meaning that can be anywhere. It doesn't necessarily have to just be there. That's where it is now, but it doesn't just have to be that. Me being from Georgia myself, I would love to bring that, and that's my vision, to bring something like that to Georgia, where it's a tech hub where everybody comes to. We provide jobs to people, and we create things, that's for the betterment of all human beings, not just any one particular group, but everybody. So that's my goal, that's my vision. So that's part of what drives me as well. Again, but the underlining thing is helping people. So, but that's a little more specific as to how I, help people. Yeah.
Right. We got to do that tech hub. That is now one thing I want to do. And like I said, I was talking to a friend of mine in Valdosta, and she was saying she wanted to do something, save our kids. I know so many people, and that want to come together and do something in the community for the betterment of the community. Why don't we just get together and do it? What I'm saying?
And you're absolutely right. And I don't think it's a question of why don't we. I think it's a question of let's do it.
Let's do it.
And things like your show right here, and bringing me on here is part of that, right?
Yes.
And of course, things. I'm a firm believer also of things take time, because sometimes when people feel that that's their only option, sometimes it takes a little while for them to catch on and to be able to see other options as something that's beneficial to themselves, right? And that's the key point about it, because when you have something that's truly beneficial, then it's beneficial to everyone. It's not just beneficial to you. It is beneficial to you too.
Yes.
But it's beneficial to everyone as well, because if you are able to better yourself, right? Well, let's just use the example of Columbus. If, some of these communities that are seeing a lot of this violence, if they're able to better themselves, empower themselves, then who would have time to cause any of that violence or civil unrest, that you see going on? You wouldn't, because people would be so busy
bettering themselves.
Right. Because again, if it's benefiting me, it's benefiting everybody. And that's how, because you don't have to worry about somebody stealing from you if they have enough to buy whatever they want to buy.
Right. So, yeah. And I truly believe that God has gifted every individual on this earth with a gift that will be beneficial to them. It's up to the individual to find out who they are, what they like, and spend some time with themselves to find out what their gift really is.
And I absolutely agree.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because sometimes that's people fall into despair, as we know, because they feel like they don't have anything to contribute. But what they're really actually doing is they're comparing themselves to other people.
Right.
So when you compare yourself to somebody else and you say, well, I'm not doing what they're doing, right? So I'm not valuable. But if you truly understand that you do have something that's within you, that's your unique gift that God gave you for you to be able to give back to the world, then you don't compare yourself to other people, because that's not unique. You know what I mean? It can't be unique if I'm doing what he's doing, or if I'm doing what you're doing. Right. I have to be me, right? But that's the first part of that, is knowing yourself, because if you don't know yourself, then how can you know where you fit in?
Right. We was talking at the doctor's office one day. We was sitting in the doctor's office, and you was explaining something to me about what the women are looking for now and how they looking for the bad guys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Have that conversation with me about the women these days. They want the bad guys. They want the drug dealers. They want and how that makes a man want to do the wrong thing when they know that's what the women want.
Yeah, we can have that conversation, definitely. So what happens is, because it's so popular, right? People see it in the TV, on movies. They hear it in the music,
right?
They think, and again, it's all about when you don't know yourself, then you can, you kind of take on the persona of other people. Right. So what happens is they assimilate this, and because they see that this person is getting what I see as success, which is, a lot of times material benefits.
Right.
They tend to gravitate towards that, right? Not looking at, but there's also these guys over here that have jobs, right? That are doctors, lawyers, who work at the factories, who tradesmen, they're working for a living and they're making money too.
Right.
You know what I mean? But because they're not what you see, then it becomes something that, you kind of disassociate yourself with it. So what's happened is, a lot of times is some women, not all of them, but, the females, they actually look at it where, well, since they're the ones getting the money, because that's all they see, right? Because they don't see that in their own communities. Right. They don't see those guys, that are working and stuff like that. All they see is that. And so it's a perpetual,
fast money.
Yeah, it's a perpetual cycle. So if you're feeding that into your own community, and then you're also becoming that, then that's what makes it perpetual. It's just a constant cycle. And so what it takes is for the women to realize, okay, I don't want that, right? Because where is that gonna lead me? It's gonna either lead me to going to jail myself, getting killed myself, losing the person who I love to these things, systems. Right? And none of those are worth, you know what I mean, the trouble or the pain of the material benefit that I think that I'm getting from it.
Yeah, and can lose it.
And one thing when I do mentor the kids, and I'm talking to them, because this is before they get into all of this, what I try to tell them is, in the streets, you don't see 100 people on the top. You don't see 100 people running the streets. You may see 1 or 2 people running specific areas, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is because everybody wants to be on top. So when they start going at each other to try to decide who is going to be at the top of this game, right? That's where you see all the violence happening, because everybody is trying to be at the top. Mm-hmm. But when you look at other areas of life, that's just one tiny small perspective in life. Mm-hmm. If you look at everything else, the total 360 degrees of life, there's so many other possibilities where you, and again, we just finished talking about being a unique expression of yourself, right?
Yes.
If you do that, nobody else can do that. Nobody else can be you, Tricia, right?
Nobody else can be the
exactly.
Right? Nobody.
So, that's you. And so, just like Intelligentleman is me, right?
That's you.
So by us being that, we create our, as the kids say these days, we create our own lane,
our own top,
wave, right? Our own top.
Right.
Nobody can take you from that because that's you, right? And so being in that mindset instead of being in this mindset of trying to, again, compare myself to somebody else, get what he has, right? Or get what she has, you know, that's where you have to be. But again, you have to cultivate that feeling of community, of connection. Mm-hmm, because if I don't feel connected to the person who lives next to me, then
you're not going to respect them.
It doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Then you're not going to care. That's why you hear a lot of these kids saying in those situations, just like your friend was saying, you know, I don't care. I don't care what happens to me. I don't care what happens to them.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why they don't care, because they don't feel connected. They don't see how it affects them by doing that. Because why? Because they're living in perpetual sorrow, despair, you know, poverty already. So the way that they see it is, what do they have to lose?
Right.
You know, but you're losing everything. You're losing all your opportunities.
Okay, well, that is important to get the kids back connected to themselves and to the communities.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And again, and I'm speaking from experience, right? I look back on my life and the things that helped move me in a positive direction, right? And all the things that I named at the beginning, you know, being part of these men's groups that we would go to every Saturday, have breakfast, talk about, you know, whatever sports, whatever. But we'd also talk about, if we had some type of question, the elders, the elder men in our community would answer those questions for us.
From wisdom.
You know, if we needed a job, we could go to them and say, hey, I'm looking for a job. And they say, hey, okay, well, I know some people who might be able to get you a job. Or what happened to me specifically, the assistant pastor at the church I was speaking about, Sylvester Jenkins, I'll never forget this. He started his own car wash and hired all of the kids from the church,
right,
to work there.
That's what
to
I'm
keep
talking
them off
about.
the street.
Right.
See, and again, you know, but us being in that position, that was them in that position. Now we're in that position, right? So those are the things we have to do in order for us to cause that same type of change.
Yes.
So that's you know. Yeah.
So we need to come together, and I say this almost every show, as people, and let's rebuild these broken communities. We need people that care. We need people that can stand up and connect with these youth and help and put money and resources back into the communities. If we don't do that, the communities will continue to fail. So we need people, anybody that's willing to help these communities who ain't making it about them. Because you see a lot of people with businesses, they make it about them, this money, but people need help. And like everybody at the church, they dance and they falling out, but who you helping? Dancing, falling out at the church, you ain't helping nobody, you ain't helping your community failing, but you falling out every Sunday. What's that doing?
And I speak on that too. Like, you know, you, as it says in the book, you know a tree by its fruit.
Yeah.
So what you have to ask yourself, and again, this is a self thing, right? So everybody has to do this for themselves.
Right.
You have to ask yourself, what fruit am I bearing, right? What am I really, and not in a material way. We're not talking about material things right now. We're talking about spiritually, right? So what am I providing, right? Because fruit is a provision.
Right.
Fruit is for somebody else to come and pick it and eat it. Right. So it's for other people. It's not just for you. So for you to be able to provide something, you have to be able to bear it. Right. So, and I just want to, you know, let everybody know you can listen to my podcast on all podcast platforms. Right. It's Intelligentleman, spelled just how it sounds. And also, you can support the podcast by going to store.intelligentleman.org. Right. And you can buy some of my merchandise that helps support the mission, and that's critical. And, you know, you can also reach me on Facebook, Milt Walker. And thank you for having me today.
Yeah, well, you are welcome, Mill. We thank you so much for coming and sharing all of that with us. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the show today. Again, we want to find people that want to stand up and help the community. I am Trish, the mobile chaplain. This is Hope, Healing, and Inspiration. We'll see you next Wednesday at 11 on 99.1 WQEE.
Help your small business thrive and stay connected with the Comcast Business Complete Connectivity Solution. It's the largest, fastest, reliable network, advanced gig speed Wi-Fi, and cyber threat protection in one solution. Plus, when you add Comcast Business Mobile, you can save up to 60% a year on your wireless bill. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Restrictions apply. Actual speeds vary. Gig Wi-Fi requires gig internet. Mobile savings compares pricing of top 3 carriers. Comcast Business Internet required.